Hello everybody, it is high noon, time for LA2M. Welcome folks, my name is Derek Marabant, CEO of Ingenix Digital Marketing, and I'm up here with Stacy Colick from Dollarville Printing, your local digital print partner. And this is LA2M, and I'm guessing we have some new faces in the crowd. I think there's some new people. Can I get a hand of all the new people? All the new people, wow, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for coming. You know, it's great. When you bring a great speaker out with a great topic, people come out of the woodwork. I love that. So this is LA2M for all you first timers. LA2M meets every Wednesday. We are a 501c3 marketing nonprofit. So we're a nonprofit like I'm sure some of you are. Our goal is to get people to come out to teach them something by bringing in great talks that are essentially free to attend. If you want lunch, the menus are on the table. That lunch is $10. That goes to Conor O'Neill's. And the way that we support ourselves as a 501c3 is we pass the hat. So we're old school. So this passing the hat, you know, throw a couple bucks, $5 in there, that helps pay for our hard costs of running meetings every week throughout the year. We are taking off Christmas and New Year's Day, which will fall on a Wednesday. And but anyways, this is a great program. And we also have a couple things. We also have sponsors. So one thing, Stacey's going to give Al, our speaker, a t-shirt. So Bank of Ann Arbor bought us these t-shirts. They're sponsored. Thanks, Bank of Ann Arbor. Probably the best $400 they ever spent. We can talk about them every week. But also, you can sponsor the program as a monthly sponsor. And they're going to take a picture. But this week's sponsor couldn't be here. Megan McCann is our sponsor this month. He's taking a picture over here. There he is. So Megan told me to say something nice about her. I know we always try and run the logistics of handing out the t-shirt, taking the picture, and keep talking because we don't want to waste your time. But Megan McCann runs a company called Search Ad Marketing, and they're a wonderful company. She's been Google certified for a long time. They do great work as far as search optimization, paid search. And you can find her billboard is on the bottom of our newsletter, Search Ad Marketing. Her website, Search with Sam. So feel free to give Megan business. She's wonderful. She'll take good care of you. The sponsorship to sponsor LA2M is only $250 for the month, and you get a banner ad in our newsletter. We talk about you in our newsletter, which goes out to around 2,000 people in Southeast Michigan. So it's pretty good circulation of what I would consider intelligent people who are interested in these programs. Some of you may have gotten our email newsletter. You also get to promote yourself at the programs. So I believe we just landed a January sponsor, but we are looking. So if you want to sponsor for only $250, and we could even have more than one sponsor a month. We're open to that. And actually January, my goodness, has some really big name speakers coming in. Charlie Wahlberg and Terry Bean are coming January 8th. So January is going to be rocking. So but talk to Mary Lou Olds if you want to sponsor $250. Come up and talk to her. It's a great value, and it helps us keep the lights on, so to speak. Okay, a couple more points of business. LA2M on Twitter. You can hashtag LA2M. We usually live tweet this program. Usually one of my interns live tweets it, but the interns are in between semesters. So feel free to live tweet. Maybe I'll tweet from LA2M myself. You can follow us on Facebook, join our LinkedIn group. We have a big connection of about 2,000 people on LinkedIn. So, anything else? Oh, there's a few other things. Michigan State won. I had to mention that. Anybody watch that game? Any Spartans in the room? A few? Okay. Yeah, we're celebrating that. We'll celebrate that until New Year's and beyond. That was a great victory. LA2M is looking for some new board members. We had a board meeting last week, and D. Davey stepped away. So we are looking for new board members. So if you're an LA2M regular and want to help out, again, you can talk to myself, talk to Mary Lou, talk to Stacy, who's on the board, Roger. Talk to some of these people if you want, and get your name in and join the board and help us make a difference for marketing in Ann Arbor. What else? Oh, last point before we introduce the speaker. The holiday party is next week. I know a few of you have probably got your holiday party tickets already. Thank you for those who did. The holiday party is awesome. So they decorate this place. It's a beautiful event. Conor O'Neill's puts out a great spread, a huge buffet, really fancy. I think they like to thank us every year for holding our meetings here. So they put out a wonderful buffet, and it's a great time. So you can come out. It's $20 for the ticket. That includes buffet. It also includes a drink from the bar. But it's a great way for you business owners. Bring your employees out. Bring some people out. You can buy one of the 12 agencies of Christmas tickets, which is $100 for up to 5 people, and you actually get your logo and a link back to your website. So even if you're not an agency, you can do that, but if you are an agency, bring 5 people out, get a nice link, and you get your logo up on the Christmas tree. So that's next week. LA2M holiday party. I hope you can join us. So without further ado, our speaker today, and for you new people, he's going to speak for approximately 30 minutes. There may be time for Q&A, and at 12:45, everyone will get to introduce themselves. So think about your introduction. But no, that's not what we do. You just stand up and say your name and who you are and what you do. So today, McWilliams from Quack Media. He's a great guy, a very important person around Ann Arbor. Most of you probably know him. I think he said his clients are here. He's on some BDA board, which I think is playing in the future of Ann Arbor's downtown, which is very exciting, because I think he has good taste and probably will help good things happen in Ann Arbor. But he runs a cool company. They do great design. They do marketing. They do lots of things. I don't really know all what they do. But anyways, he's going to be talking about marketing for nonprofits. So let's get Al McWilliams a round of applause and welcome him to LA2M.
Thank you. Is this okay? I had to turn it back on so you couldn't hear what I was talking to Dave about here, which was terrible stuff. So yeah, it's been 3 years. I just looked up since. It's been 3 years, and I forgot that I was supposed to stand the lights since that was last year. So thanks, LA2M, for having me back. I do want to lump in public sector and education into the nonprofit umbrella for today. And I'm going to kind of have 30 minutes, so I got to rifle through everything. It's a huge topic. And then kind of at the end, I hope we do have some Q&A so you guys can say, hey, remember when you mentioned that challenge that nonprofits face? That's true. Is there some examples or more you can talk about that, and I can revisit it? So I'm going to rush through, and then we're going to go back at the end and hit the points that struck before. So with that said, I do think that there's a lot of this that applies to commercial stuff. As an agency, we have public sector clients, we have nonprofit clients, we have commercial clients, we have pro sports clients, which kind of fall into their own world. So because they don't make a profit. So what, if I can just get a quick survey of who here is from an agency, like an ad agency style thing, marketing firm? We got a lot of those folks here. And then who's here from like a nonprofit? We got nonprofit board members and staffers. And then public sector, I know I see Don. Public agency folks. Okay, so we're going to totally ignore that stuff. So welcome and thank you for having me. I do have slides. So I'll wake up now. So what I'm going to do with these slides, as you'll be able to tell from my first slide here, is that I don't do a lot of slideshows. So when I did it 3 years ago, it was my first PowerPoint I'd ever put together. So it was entitled "I Made a PowerPoint." So there's a joke for the two people who are still here. This is basically what we're going to do today. We're going to go over how these things are the same and different from your regular old Dearborn Sausage Company commercial client. How are they the same? What can we learn from each other? Some random tips and tricks at the end that didn't really fall into any of this stuff, but will hopefully save you from a ruined day sometime in your life. And how we're going to call them pubes and nons for brevity, so I don't have to say public sector, nonprofit, and education through this whole thing. So pubes and nons is going to be my new term I made up. This is me. This is what it is to Swayze a shirt. We hear that referred to. Every year on Swayze's birthday, you're supposed to Swayze your shirt. So some background on Quack and myself. We do have a ton of nonprofit public sector clients. We do the Ann Arbor Transportation Authority down here. We do the Port of Long Beach. We do Cranbrook Schools. Development side, we've done some stuff for we just did some St. Joe's stuff. We've done Eastern Michigan University stuff. We've done Ozone House and Art Center and all across the board of all different sizes. Obviously, the Port of Long Beach is a very big organization, and obviously the Ann Arbor Center is a very small organization, but so we have information. And then on the commercial side, we do Dearborn Sausage Company, Disney, all the way down to Kuroshio, the Japanese restaurant across the way there. So we're able to kind of look at the challenges that are facing each one of those folks and see how a lot of them are the same, and then there are certainly some unique challenges each size and type of client face. So that's where we're coming from. And getting really quick to why it's so different. Those of you who are here from nonprofits know that there's probably every time you sit down for a staff meeting or a board meeting, someone around the table says, we should market better or advertise better, or our website could be better, or that gets said at every single meeting, and then sometimes somebody takes it and runs with it, but usually it sits there and it keeps getting brought up at the next meeting, and the next meeting, and the next meeting, because our first big challenge is nonprofits and public agencies and educational places, pubs and nons, tend to be very mission focused, whether it's the board or the staff. Everybody is focused on let's do good, and then the rest of it will kind of fall into place. And so when marketing comes up, it's kind of an odd thing to approach. So for all these reasons, the first one is you're not generally selling a product, although sometimes you are. A perfect example is 826 here has the robot store, which sells actual items, but at the same time they're responsible for doing development. They are responsible for advertising and marketing their actual service that they provide to the community. And they're trying to run this store, and they're trying to do all that. So which one of these things are you communicating? And the answer generally is, it's a very simple answer, which is, of course, endear yourself to your community at all times, and then all of these things will kind of flow into each other, which obviously is a completely giant request that no one can ever tackle all at once. So the biggest takeaway from this one, and I have examples to back it up if you guys would like to come back to it later, but draw a strategy for each single one of these things individually and not try to attack them. When you're sitting around as a board or a marketing committee, or when it's a lot of times a nonprofit, it's just you who has to look at this whole thing. When you look at it as, we have to tackle all these things, yes, I have a development outreach that I have to do, I have to do an annual ask campaign, or I have to get more people to take this class that we're offering for free because no one is there. They're very different things, so look at each one of them individually, and then once you have the individual plans all mapped out, you can go back and tie them all together, because that's obviously very important as well. We want everything to work together. But kind of biting each one of these things off, listing them out, what are you're not going to have all of these, but for public sector, a lot of times it's, we're not selling anything, but we have a duty to our taxpayers to make sure they're informed of what we're doing and how we're handling their money for us. That's a big communication piece for a public sector company and for nonprofits. Which brings me to, you're spending my money on what? Which is, when you're, a big challenge for both nonprofits and any tax-funded public entity is, you have to walk that line. Taxes, people still consider it their money. Yes, you're handling it for me now, but that is still my money, so I'm going to be extra critical about it. And the same with gifts a lot of time. As a nonprofit, when someone has given even a $50 donation, they're not giving that money to you. They are letting you decide what to do with it. So there's an extra level of scrutiny that gets tied on there. And really, all that we want to do there is, first of all, acknowledge the extra level of scrutiny. Make sure that your process in marketing is documented, because you're going to get an email or a journalist or someone who says, hey, I saw how much money you spent on this annual campaign to ask for more money. I am mad about that. I don't think you should have spent that money to ask for more money from me. And that can spool out into this large argument about, well, if I didn't ask for more, then I wouldn't have more, and we couldn't run, and that's a whole conversation you don't want to have. So what we really want to do is recognize that that is a concern, and it's a balance that we want to walk. When you are advertising and marketing to the people who are paying for your advertising and marketing, it's a sensitive area. And you are going to be, if you're Anheuser-Busch and you make a stupid commercial that nobody likes, everybody just says, that's a stupid commercial, I don't like it, and they probably go out and buy your product anyway because they're talking about you. When you're a nonprofit, public sector, they're going to say, that's a stupid commercial, and you made it with my money, you're doing it wrong, and we're really angry now. And now you have someone who has already been a good supporter that's now angry, which is something we always want to avoid. Be a good steward and it will show. That's kind of go back to that whole don't blow it thing. I know it's a big request, but it's actually pretty simple. If you document your process and then you make sure that your communication is specifically to your mission and your goal, you should be all right on that front. The only caveat being is perception. So a lot of times, even though you're sending this out or broadcasting it to folks who don't do this for a living, so your constituents or your donor base, your potential donor base, or your potential recruits for your school may not recognize that this piece of marketing or effort is actually less expensive than this other one, even though it doesn't look like it. So there's a little bit of thought given to the perception of we want to communicate effectively, cleanly, we want to get the message, we want to get buy-in, but we don't want to do it with fireworks and stomping around and showing off and being super glitzy, because we do have this extra challenge that commercial entities don't really face. Another specific challenge to pubes and nons is our staff, boards, and elected officials are things we do. We deal with boards and commercial entities, but they're usually boards of people specifically selected because they have an experience, a stake in that company or whatever it is, whereas in nonprofits and public entities, each board member usually comes with a specific set of expertise, but we need to recognize when we walk into a meeting, whether we're a staffer that's going to pitch something to a board, or whether we're an agency that's walking in to try to pitch something to a staff or a board, that may be the first meeting of that type that person has ever had, which is a very unique challenge, because when you walk into a corporate board, they've all been in this marketing meeting before. They've all seen an ad pitch before. They've all approved a marketing budget before. When you walk into a nonprofit, they've not designed a website before. They've not approved a budget for a website before. At least someone in the room hasn't. And so a pitfall that we've always tried to stay away from but learned the hard way was always start from the beginning in those meetings. And the best example I have is we did a logo, a new logo that the staff of a public entity was all for. But we needed to sell it to the board, and we knew coming down to our third item there, decision makers see the presentation directly from the people who created it. You don't want to be passing your marketing effort or your creative effort through a staff that then goes to a board, or if you're a staffer, through one board member that then takes it to the board. The person who feels good about this and has done the research and has done the work should be presenting it. And then you need to start from the beginning, because we walk into this public entity and we say, here are 3 logos, which one are we into? Or we say, we like this logo, and this is why. Where we really needed to start was, this is why we have logos. Recognizing that the majority of the people in that room had never been in that meeting before. They'd never chosen a logo before. that's not what they do. And that's a big difference when you're working in pubes and nons. I've forgotten my own made-up word. And the last ones are just pretty simple. Know your adders. When you get in especially very large board situations, there are people who need to add something to the project. And that's really valuable because obviously there's a reason why they're on that board. They have experience in some sector. We want the input. We need to know where everybody's coming from before we go into that meeting. So we know how to handle those things, whether it is something that needs to like stop the presses, we need to go back and start over, or whether it's something that needs to be incorporated and recognized, but not necessarily, okay, throw out the whole program, let's start over, which tends to happen if you don't know that that's going to be present. Which brings us to trust your staff. There is someone on staff who has that information and they know it. If you're an agency coming in, you have to 100% trust your staff person. If you're a staff person, you have to get your whole staff together before you go into that meeting, and that's very true. That carries over to commercial entities as well. And the mission focus, this is more of a touch point for agencies, which I didn't see a lot of folks here from agencies, but as an agency going into a nonprofit or public sector, you have to understand that the people you're going to be speaking to are very mission focused. And they, again, this make all those previous things, this is the first meeting of this type they've had, if not once every 3 years. And they're going to be concerned about teaching kids how to write better, or getting people from point A to point B in Ann Arbor, and they're not necessarily as concerned with what it is you do, which is great news for agencies, because if they were really good at that, or they really wanted to do that and focus on it, we wouldn't have jobs. So if you're a marketing person in a nonprofit, pub and non, or if you're an agency, that's great that they don't want to handle that, because that means that's why we're here, which is cool. And the things that make us samesies, and that means with the commercial entities. So when we hitchhike back and forth between our Detroit Red Wings client or our Ann Arbor Transportation Authority client, Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority client. There are some things that we've kind of noticed over the years that really, really, really can apply to those. The big one is taking some risks. I have a video I can show if there's time about a project that the Port of Long Beach let us do, I should say, which is a great example of taking some risks. We just did a project for Cranbrook that has been really successful because they were able to take some risks in the development program. And a lot of it's harder for public, especially public entities, to do that. Their boss is obviously all of the voters at the end of the day, so that's a lot of people to worry about, making sure you don't offend anybody. Taking into account those rules we talked about earlier, where, you know, hey, you're spending my money on what? There is some room in there to take risks, and we shouldn't be afraid of it. The evidence to support, and again, if you want to see more, I have examples, to support that being a good idea is pretty heavy. It is really hard to get that board buy-in. It's really hard to get everybody together behind it. But if you can get some baby steps, they'll see some results. Pro sports, surprisingly enough, are probably the biggest corollary I can draw to public sector and nonprofit. Working for the Red Wings for 3 years, very risk averse in marketing, mostly because they sell tickets, or win games, sell tickets. That's marketing, advertising, communication is something we do because somebody said we had to, and there's a really dedicated staff that do an awesome job within that, but if you go outside of that staff, win games, sell tickets, period, which there's of course a mountain of evidence, the Chicago Cubs, that says you can do very well without winning anything, ever. So despite the evidence, there's still that idea, and I think nonprofits fall into that a lot, where we're so mission focused, we really want to just win games, and then all this other stuff will come along and it'll happen for us, which may be true. There are obviously pro teams who have done that. But at the same time, there are pro teams like the Red Wings we were working with them who could not possibly win any more games. They had won the cup the year prior, and they went to the game 7 of the finals that year, and yet they still were not sold out, and that was crazy. So keeping that in mind, take some risks, and the super extra easy solution, I already jumped the gun on this one, but that is, I wrote it here, endear yourself to your community at all times. I know development, recruitment will all come together on its own, so that's just a little challenge for everybody. So finally, I have some random tips and tricks that didn't really fit anything else. First being, track the crap out of them. We've been able to get into the nitty-gritty with a lot of different organizations who have a lot of different, especially in development, but also with recruiting efforts. If you have an education-based program, public services, whatever it is, track like crazy. For lists and tracking systems, there's a clear difference between, Cranbrook is a perfect example. Their infrastructure behind their development team is insane. They have everything segmented into a million places. There's a tracking code on everything that goes out. They know where everybody's at. They know who does what. And so when we go in as an outside agency to build a new program and to take those risks, we can do so with less risk. We can do so more efficiently. If it's not working, we can stop doing it really fast and stop wasting money. And so specifically, we just this year we redid their development campaign for their main annual give, and it was already very successful, which of course puts a huge pressure on me, because when we go into an agency or organization that's really having trouble, it's fairly easy to improve upon that. When we go into somewhere that's really been amazing at it, their annual fund is one of the largest in the country for an educational institution. They do a great job. It's really successful, and we took some risks, so it's even harder to ask to take risks. They did. We changed it drastically, and they're up after 6 weeks about 50% over last year. So that's a development campaign. Specifically, it was a direct mail campaign, so I know we're all talking about a lot of technology these days, but I don't want anyone, just because I have spiky hair, to think that we don't embrace direct mail. It is very trackable. It's relatively affordable if you know how to do it, and it works. I mean, the Cranbrook thing is a pretty example. Text to donate, in general, no. We've tried it a couple times because it's always nice to try things. We've tried national campaigns on it. We've tried more localized campaigns. We've tried it coupled with just about every other media. Maybe it's just us. If you look up the numbers nationally, it's not. The text to donate campaigns are really tough to get going. They do work. They have worked. But a little pitfall would be to say, if anybody reads Daniel Kahneman, to assume that you're different than the average takes a great deal of proof, because that's the reason why there's an average there. You are probably going to do that. So if there's an average return on a text to donate campaign for your sector, that is probably where you're going to be, unless you have a really convincing reason why you're going to be different than the average. Finally, your website is too busy even if we made it for you. Across the board, I think, especially in the nonprofit world, our websites are too busy. Even if we've been in there and redone the messaging and redesigned it for you, we probably got to a point where we were pushing for less and someone in the board or something was pushing for more, and we still ended up with probably a little more than we should have there. Just a good note to always keep. I have the Post-it notes that I keep on the side of my wall that just to constantly remind me things, and one of them is, your website is too busy. And I wanted to make sure I put us in that boat too, because even if we made it for you, it's too busy. So that was my quick run through of everything. I don't know how I did on time.
It's 12:30, so we have time for questions.
Okay, cool. So is there anything that we want more to back up? I kind of ran over the topics. What do you want to hear more about?
Well, I had two things. The first one was, can you give an example of when you, oh, thank you. Can you give an example of when you took a risk that, you know, got the job done and exciting people and exciting the audience, but stood up to the scrutiny against the people paying for the ads, like you mentioned?
Yes. I'm trying to think of the best one. So I actually have a video queued up for the Port of Long Beach. We did a separate, so they're in a situation where they're a public agency. They are not taxpayer funded, but everybody assumes that they are. They actually, obviously it's a port, they make tons, they actually put tons of money back into the city that they're in. They're the single largest economic engine in not only in the city of Long Beach, which operates them and owns them, but also, you know, probably most of the state of California. They're huge. Most of the West Coast, they're one of the biggest probably. They have a problem though, they're a big industrial monolith, they're not looked at very well. So their communication department, most of their job is, they're not selling anything, they're not doing development, their job is making sure the community knows what they contribute and making sure the community is as involved as possible and as excited as possible. So they give us a long leash, and we produced a fake reality show mini-series about a monster in the seaport, which I queued up a separate video that we made for them, which I can show you if we have time, and I didn't queue this one up, but this is the one that's up there, isn't out yet. But we had awesome talent from The Office, good improv talent. We did a series of 3 short films that were totally irrelevant to any specific goal really for the port, but they debuted them at their Movies on the Beach. They host Movies on the Beach every summer, and we had the series premiere at the Movies on the Beach throughout, and by the end, you know, we had people showing up just to see, before Dirty Dancing plays, there's going to be the final episode of, we called it Creature Seekers. And it was really successful at allowing, because a lot of the reputation of a public agency or a nonprofit to be looked at as the port or whatever it is, as opposed to a group of people who also live here, who are enthusiastically and knowledgeably doing this. So it humanized the port in a way, and it got people to open up. There's all this information coming out of the port, but people aren't open to receiving it. So the idea of doing something goofy, taking off the ties a bit and loosening up really helped. And it was very risky because it was a fake reality show series with lots of jokes that weren't cleared by more than like one person. So yes.
Hi, what are your thoughts on search marketing and social media marketing for nonprofits?
It's a long meeting. I would say, and a sensitive one in this room. I would say this as a general, and this goes for public, commercial entities as well. So long as they're evaluated in the same way you would evaluate any other campaign, and that all the resources you're putting into it are recognized. A lot of times what we find is that there's a lot of effort and resources being put into those types of campaigns that doesn't get noted on the budget sheet. So at the end of the day, when you look at whether we should do this or not, or whether it's working or not, you don't get a straight answer because, oh, right, there's 100 hours of staff time. You know, we think of it as free. It's not free, and so just judge it under the same criteria you would any other effort you would do. Because it works sometimes, it doesn't work other times. It works in some sectors, it doesn't work in others. Google has awesome programs where you can do a lot of it for free, which is great. But again, make sure that you add on how much it actually costs you to manage it and do it. So that kind of answers your question in a short way. But yes, I could talk for hours on it. Sure.
So when you talked about Cranbrook and using some traditional media, but really the thing that stood out for me was that 50% improvement over an already very good campaign. Can you talk a little bit about the details and some of the tactics that you used for that?
Sure. Let's set up a meeting, and you can. This is where, as an agency, we always toe that line of like, well, at what point are we hired? No, but I'm happy to. So they have been doing a direct mail campaign. I'm also an alumni of Cranbrook, so I've been getting this direct mail campaign for a very long time. And so we had some pretty detailed knowledge of why it wasn't working, because it wasn't working on me. We basically helped them get out of, they've been doing the same thing for, I graduated 15 years ago, that at least that long, the exact same thing. And so basically the risk was anything but the exact same thing is going to help a lot in terms of our response rate and our open rate. Plus we added that with some experience we've had with the AAATA in making sure we look at, I mean, technology changes in direct mail too. Things that used to cost a lot don't cost as much now, and printing costs and things like that. So there's some opportunities that weren't available 15 years ago that we can do now, like we took them outside of the envelope. They had been using an envelope, literally outside of the envelope. They've been sending everything in an envelope. We got rid of it. We did a fold card, large format fold card, no words on the front, just a photo and a logo. Again, things that get into the details of us poring over a specific project for a long time, but the basic, I think the thing that made it successful versus all the other stuff we did is the fact that we did anything different than had been done, and specifically taking advantage of where printing has come. I mean, 15 years ago, you had to pay if you wanted more than one color. So you see a lot of people that still have one color printed material. Well, nowadays, and I'm sure Stacy, wherever Stacy went, can talk about that, it doesn't really make a huge difference whether you want to do full color or one color, if any at all. So when we walk into a place and everybody's mailing out one color items, there's technology, isn't just digital stuff. We have advances there too. So.
Hey Al, this is Derek. Did you drive traffic to a landing page, or was it just the phone for the success of Cranbrook? Like people pick up the phone and donate, or how did they?
We have all three. So we have an online donation, we have a phone bank, and we have mailing. Okay. And they actually get a lot in mailing too. So.
You got a question?
I have a question about the local Kiwanis thrift sale, and we now have a warehouse as well. And we've done some sophisticated surveying of our customers, and what we find is most of our customers, they come because of a friend, or they come because they've always known about it. And so when we do advertise, there's very little mention of this advertising that we're doing, other than Craigslist is effective at driving people to the warehouse, and Facebook is inexpensive. At the same time, we have our members saying you need to advertise more because we keep talking to people who have never heard about the Kiwanis thrift sale. So how can you justify spending a significant amount of money on advertising?
Our first meeting, always our first client meeting. How can we justify ourselves? It really depends on what a large amount of money is, because in this world, the nice thing when you're speaking specifically to Ann Arbor, sometimes it's a double-edged sword, but usually you can negate one of those edges effectively. We're just barely a mass media market with 115,000 people, and if you spread a little wider than that, Washtenaw County is, I think, 300 something. We're just barely mass media. So if you can get a good deal on something that would be considered mass media, great. But otherwise, you can actually almost directly talk to, once you start cutting out the people who would never be your customers, 100,000 people cuts down to 50,000 pretty fast. And that's not mass media numbers. That's a direct campaign or a really targeted word of mouth campaign. There's things you can do to up your, with limited resources, which of course everyone has limited resources, but with very low limited resources of a nonprofit, you can basically provide tools to the people who are already talking about you a lot to amplify that. And some of those tools are social media based, but a lot of them are, there's a million different techniques which you can kind of pick from a tool list, but whether it's looking at your messaging and making sure that it's really clean and clear so that when they are talking about you, they've got it, yes, here's a reason for you to go right now, it's a little card. We do, I forgot which client it was for, but we did these little pocket-size business card things that their large group of heavy supporters were carrying around, and just anytime somebody asked about it, just here you go. I know the Shelter Association, who's a client, their board always has on them at all times this kind of little pocket size. It's almost a whole deck for the shelter that's pocket sized. Usually they're handing it to people they see on the street who ask for money, and they say, there's a shelter right there, here you go. But they have this nice tool. I think that's them. I might be thinking of a different client. It might not be the shelter. Anyway, a little, almost, imagine your whole fundraising deck or your whole marketing deck, but condensed down into a little two-sided card that your word of mouth people can just, yeah, here you go. But yeah, there's a big list of tools, and we kind of list them all out and scratch off the ones we can't afford or the ones that don't apply to us and move forward from there. Is that helpful? I feel like it's again, a very long conversation.
Well, we're doing some of what you recommended already, so
Cool.
This was a very worthwhile conversation.
All right, I'm glad to support it.
Oh, well, Stacy just suggested there's no more questions. Is there time to play that video?
All right.
About 4 minutes.
All right, so provided and loaded, I was having some, let's see. It looks fully loaded. All right, so this is a, this is a video we did for report. Oh, why is this going to
Play it and go full screen.
All right. Which is a good example. This isn't out yet, but it's a good example of taking risks. This is an educational-based video. If you can imagine that once you see it. Yes? We're going to do it?
Is it playing on the internet?
It is, but I let it load first, so it should be good to go. Oh yeah, there we go. I don't know, guys.
So it may not work.
We can put the link up on the webpage.
Yeah. Well, you can't yet. It's not out yet. That's why I have it password protected on here. But there we go. That was our problem. Oh no. I didn't have to. Well, so now it's not loaded, but it's working. Well, okay, that's not cool. Done. All right.
Any more questions?
Oh, you guys are still here. Crazy.
Any more questions? All right, let's give Al a big round of applause.
If there is more information wanted, I do have like brief, tiny little case studies of various things, which you'll notice is very flowery because it is advertising for us. Up here, if you have more questions, anything specific, I can hand you one of these. You can flip through. There are some specific mini, ultra mini case studies of some projects that worked versus ones that didn't.
Thank you, Al. And you know, I love the presentation, and it wasn't for its design substance, but it was for the actual experience substance. Man, I really got a lot out of it. So kudos, thanks Al for being here. And I hope you guys learned something. Did everybody learn something? Yeah. There was lots of nuggets in there if you're listening. So anyways, now we do introductions. So we're going to pass the mic. We're going to get all the way around the room in 15 minutes. It's snowing out. It's a beautiful day. And we'll start right up here with Mike. And just tell us who you are, what you do, and briefly if you have some good news or you're looking for something, and then pass it around the room.
I'm Mike Creech. I'm the webmaster at Internet 2.
Jim Jordan, undergrad at Eastern Michigan in marketing. Everybody down the line, the integrated marketing coordinator at the Arbor Area Transportation Authority, otherwise known as the RIDE.
Hello everyone, Liz Czak from Czak Creative Resources. I'm a writer, marketing consultant, and project manager. And I would love to be working with teams, maybe IT people and graphic designers, and some cool projects.
Hi, Kathy Griswold. I work with Kiwanis. I have a website, ckids.org, and also have done a few political campaigns, and I'm always interested in what marketing techniques can be applied to a political campaign.
Mike McCullough. I'm in foreclosure prevention, affordable housing, and community housing network in Wayne, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Lisa Radwick, and I'm a marketing analyst and product manager, and I help companies analyze their sales and improve their product and branding, and I'm looking for an opportunity to do that for you.
My name is Mary Simpkins. I work for the National Network of Depression Centers based out of Ann Arbor, and we're in the process of trying to revamp our website and social media presence.
Hi, I'm Reagan Parker, and I run the marketing department and the new business development department for Thompson Shore, which is a publishing services company.
Hi, I'm Leslie McGraw with Let's Go Social Media Marketing Training, and we are working on our white papers and processes and all that to help community organizations and nonprofits that we help a lot that do have a lot of that scrutiny that you talk about. And we are helping, specifically we have classes coming up in January to help with a business blog or business newsletters.
Oh, I did that.
Good afternoon. I just want everyone to know I talked to Santa in the parking lot, and you're on his nice list for this project. I'm Dr. Thomas Blackwell, principal owner of MPEL International. We do business around the world with motivated individuals, and we're looking for those people who are looking to be motivated and have and develop another income stream.
I'm Janet Blackwell, Thomas's wife, and right now we have one exclusive product that we are presenting to people. It's called Ribbon, and it's a gift card that does not have a money amount on it. It can be from $30 to $1,000. So if you have any last minute shopping that you need to do, you can see me and get a card and go to our store site and buy a ribbon gift, and your recipient will be very happy with the results.
Hi, I'm Leslie Raven. I'm the Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Film Festival. And I just want to make sure that everybody who's in this room comes to opening night on March 25th, 2014.
I'm David Lieber with the Ann Arbor Regent Hotel and Suites and Conference Center over the east side of town. If you're planning for 2014 groups, conferences, meetings, just let me know, and we have availability. Thanks.
Hi everybody, my name is Jim Musial, and I work in web and mobile development, and I'd love to talk to you if you need help with mobile optimization. Thanks.
Hi everybody, I'm Stacy from Dollarville, your local digital print shop. Thanks Al for that big plug up there of direct mail. Everybody, we can do that for you. And don't forget about the holiday party next Wednesday. It's all planned, it's going to be so much fun, and it's nice when it's crowded and everybody's around. So I'll see you next Wednesday.
Hi, I'm Steve Krasinski. I'm the Director of Marketing at Michigan Radio, and I'm not going to give you a pitch or anything today.
I'm Mike Brooks, and I'm with ACE, which is the Annual Collaboration for Entrepreneurship, which is a conference that will be held on January 30th in Livonia. Anybody who's been to ACE before? All right. Well, I have the reminder cards here with me, so you can pick one up with our website on it. One extra spin on it, speaking of nonprofits, this year our keynote speaker is going to be a person named Peter Bloom from an organization called Donors Choose, which is out of New York City, and they support public school systems around the country where the teachers provide right to them for small grants, $500, $1,000, that sort of thing. And he's going to come and talk about their organization as well as motivational things for entrepreneurs. So it's the first time we've really delved into nonprofit things as well as for-profit. So stop by and get one of these cards on the way out.
Hi, I'm Greg Wilson. This is actually my first LA2M. I'm a recent graduate from Northern Michigan University with a degree in public relations. Right now I'm doing a little bit of digital marketing, sort of freelance work, but I'm always looking for new experiences.
Hi, I'm Tom Bobney. I own a company called Mobile Exhibit Specialist. We do a lot of ride and drive automotive programs. The next one coming to Detroit's going to be at Great Lakes Crossing. It's for GMC Monday Night Football, and it starts this shopping weekend. So be up at Great Lakes Crossing, outside in the parking lot.
Hi, my name is Nancy Rojas Fairley, and I'm from Jackson, and I'm a creative consultant and marketing consultant for a handful of companies in Jackson. And we're currently looking for some CEO people, and I will definitely look up the sponsor for this meeting. And also, anybody that has any experience with .NET Nuke, come see me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ben Jessup, Marketing Manager with Clean Energy Coalition here in Ann Arbor. We focus in transforming the world into cleaner technologies for fuels for vehicles as well as renewable energy for building systems.
Hi, and I'm Nicole Verkylen. I'm the proposal coordinator at Clean Energy Coalition at Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben Roberts. I'm a board member for Westside Montessori. I specialize in advancement and nonprofit fundraising.
Hi, I'm co-owner of the ANN magazine, and we are an insert monthly into the New York Times and Wall Street Journal.
Who are you? I'm Jeff Reinbelt from the Renaissance Venture Capital Fund. I'm also on the board of 826 Michigan, so thanks for the shout out.
I'm Scott Olson. I'm on the board of LA2M Montessori School here in Ann Arbor. Our product is an easy sell. It's successful children of everyone in this room.
Hi, I'm Doug Collier. I am the head of school for LA2M Montessori School, and I echo what Scott Olson said.
My name is Patrick Holovic. I'm the digital media manager at 89.1 WEMU. I handle all of our digital marketing, our newsletter, WEMU.org as well. And we're always open to underwriting and sponsorship opportunities.
I'm Bob Shannon. I've got a CPA firm in this area. I specialize in helping small, growing, high-tech companies with their accounting, tax, and finance needs. I'm also tax advisor to LA2M and also on the program committee of New Enterprise Forum. And the website, www.accountant-michigan.com.
I'm Cliff Sheldon. I'm with Ann Arbor SCORE. That's annarborscore.org. We do free counseling for businesses, usually startups, also involved with the Kiwanis Club.
I'm Roger Rayle. I'm a venture catalyst in my extended transition, which is what I call retirement. And I help with a number of networking groups around, and one of them is Ann Arbor Video Interest Group. How many people do video, need video? The December meeting is tonight at 6:30 to 8 at Cubs AC's meeting room. So there's food and there's beer if you like. And it's free to attend. We do ask for a slight donation to cover the cost of the room. Hope to see some of you tonight.
Hi, my name is Dane Whitepool. I'm an intern up at Performance Network, specializing in marketing, pretty new in marketing, so it's been a pretty positive experience. So.
I'm Marissa. I'm the marketing director at Performance Network Theater. I recognize a lot of faces in here, and we're doing our musical Jerry's Girls for the holidays, which is really sparkly and fabulous, so come see it.
Hi, my name is Jen Pan.
I'm the graphic designer and assistant technical director over at Performance Network Theater, and Marissa just did the plug, so there we go.
I'm Laura Harold, partner with Wagner Design Associates here in downtown Ann Arbor.
Hello, I'm Carrie Hernandez with High Scope Educational Research Foundation, where we provide professional development and teacher resources for early childhood education.
Hi, I'm Diana Luke, also with High Scope, and I'm the Early Childhood Assessment Product Manager.
My name is Peter Ayers, and I'm a web developer at Move Communications.
Hello, my name is Eric Honke, and I'm an apprentice at Performance Network Theater, and we're right down the street there.
Hi, I'm Dave Menzo with Move Communications. We tell your story with impact.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou with LA2M, and thanks everyone for coming out. That was just an amazing talk, very informative and very valuable. I'm sure that a lot of people got a great deal of information out of it. And I'm also I'll be here for a little while, so if someone wants to come and talk with me about sponsoring LA2M, I think you're some of the details on that. It's really a good deal. I mean, where else can you reach this kind of audience and this quality of audience for just $250 for a month? And it's great for events as well. So if you have an event that's coming up, we've had a lot of success with that type of thing. So if you'd like to tie in with an event for your organization, it's perfect for those types of things as well. Also we have just a few slots left open for speakers, so let me know if you have suggestions for speakers as well for LA2M. Also, and ask for myself, I'm working on some things for a client, and I would appreciate some tips on working with administering LinkedIn and also Hootsuite. So if someone would like to talk to me about it, that'd be great.
I'm Curtis Sherlin from Prince Studios, and I'm a commercial and travel portrait photographer. And the pictures I share these meetings go up on the LA2M Facebook page.
Thank you, Carter. Carter's one of the many LA2M volunteers, along with Roger Rayle, does video of the events, Bob helps with our taxes, Stacy, I mean, everyone kind of volunteers and chips in. So it's great that everyone came today. If you don't know me, I'm Derek Maribon, CEO of Ingenix Digital Marketing. We are a digital agency really focused on helping companies reach business goals. We do some with pubes and nods, I like that, but not like this. This is really good stuff. But I wanted to say something. We rent a bunch of space about Arbor Brewing Company. I keep forgetting to mention this. We have extra office space for rent. So if anybody knows anyone looking for downtown office space, we have some varying sizes. We have some co-working space for individuals or a couple of closed-door offices you might be interested in. So please come talk to me about that if you do. And please come to the holiday party next week. Get your tickets. We'd like to give Caroline an account on Monday. And it's a really, really fun event. You know, I see some of you are wearing red today. Hopefully everyone can wear your holiday sweaters and stuff. And, you know, it can be a fun, festive event. And we finished on time today, thanks to our speaker. We're always on time. We try and be on time. We're kind of anal about that at LA2M because we believe, you know, get you out, get you back to the office, whatever you got to do. But let's give our speaker one last round of applause. Al McWilliams. So next week, holiday party, after the New Year, January 8th is it? Because that's our first, because that's 7 days after New Year's Day, because we're not going to be New Year's Day, because we're going to be watching Sparty beat up on Stanford. But no, so 8 days later, 7 days later, January 8th, Charlie Wahlberg and Terry Bean are going to be here, and they're going to be talking about something about setting your goals in the zombie apocalypse. I forget the title. But it should be good. You guys came in to Charlie, Terry, yeah. Tell your friends, it's going to be good. That's always a full house. But Al really packed the house today too, so thanks for packing the house. And you guys go out, have some fun, make some money, shop local, right? Shop local, and support the local nonprofits. Thanks for being here.